I've done a couple of videos where I've taken YouTube rankings of various bands and used them to amalgamate them into a ranking of the albums of a certain band according to YouTubers. And thought I might want to do that for Focus. Unfortunately, there are very few videos ranking Focus albums on YouTube. Pete Parrott, Tranquility does one. There's a very good video ranking all the Yanakam albums, if you look somewhere, but nothing very much for Focus. I've been a fan of Focus for some considerable time, and I'd really like to see a few more ranking videos. So hopefully, by doing this, somebody might want to disagree with me and do their own ranking. I've been a fan of Focus since '73. I heard Sylvia on the radio when I bought the album, and I've followed them on and off since then. At one point in the mid '70s, they were definitely my favourite band. At that point, the band was Tash Van Leer on keyboards, Yanakam on guitar, Bert Reuter on bass, and Pierre van der Linden on drums. They've had a number of personnel changes since. The big change was when Yanakam left in '76. There's been a succession of very good guitarists replacing him, but Yanakam was exceptional. Tash Van Leer is the one common thread through them all: keyboard and flute and voice. And there are, according to Wikipedia, 16 studio albums. I'm going to rank the studio albums, which is a bit of a shame because Focus at the Rainbow is a particularly good album that the band produced back in the day, and I would have ranked that in the top 3, no problem. However, 16 listed on Wikipedia, and there's a certain amount of controversy whether you should rank some of these. One or two of them look like compilations, but I'll go with Wikipedia and we'll rank them. Number 16 is Golden Oldies. It does look like a compilation. It's what was the current band playing Focus classics. Focus 1 and 2, 3 are on there. Hocus Pocus is on there. Sylvia's on there, and there's 3 tracks from some of the later albums. It's a re-recording of these classic tracks, so it's not a compilation, but it's therefore not essential. If you go to a gig and this is on the merch stand, pick it up because it'll certainly be a good record of the way the band were playing the way they play live now. So that's number 16, Golden Oldies. Number 15, Focus Family Album. Again, looks like a compilation. In many ways it is. There are tracks from solo tracks from the current band, and there's half of the album is that. There are I think 10-ish Focus tracks. Ones that didn't make previous albums. Ones that were at that point tasters for the upcoming Focus 11. It's a good album, probably for completists only though. Number 15, Focus Family album. Number 14, this one, which is a bit of a curiosity. This is when the band were in South America. They recorded with some Brazilian musicians to produce this one, which is Focus 8.5. It's actually credited to Focus and Friends. Focus 8.5 Beyond the Horizon, and the band plays with various apparently well-known Brazilian musicians. It's not quite my thing. It's interesting. Focus Zero is a good track, but it's where it is. That's why I've ranked it at number 14. Number 13 is another compilation, and it's completely focused. It appears on Focus 50, which is there's a live album, which is been recorded in, I think, Rio. Yeah, Rio. And there's the completely focused studio album is a re-recording of all the tracks that were called Focus, so Focus 1, Focus 2, Focus 3, all the way to Focus 12. Focus 12 will be presumably coming out on the upcoming album, which I think is due out next year. It hangs together quite well. It's worth getting, particularly because Focus 6 is really only available on a fairly obscure Tash Van Leer solo album. And there's some good stuff on it, but again, it's because it's a recording of around that at number 13. Number 12 is the new album, Focus 11. I've ranked it relatively low. I've not obviously not had it as long as the others. I've not necessarily found it that easy to get into. It contains there's some great stuff on it. Who's Calling was originally put out on the 1985 Jan Akkerman Tash Van Leer Focus album, and I think the version on here is better. Heaven's very focusy, but it's I've not really found a favourite track on here. I think that's probably why I've got it ranked so low. So that's Focus 11. Next is the aforementioned Tash Van Leer and Jan Akkerman Focus album from 1985. It has a 1985 production, which is why it's probably ranking so low. The CD, the two tracks are longer, extended, but that's all they are really. They're just longer. They're not. I don't think we're missing anything on the vinyl. But yeah, there's some great tracks on here. Russian Roulette I've always liked, which is the opening track. The Tango Will Appear Later. Who's Calling is as I say, on Focus 11. They play very well, but there's that 1980s production, so it doesn't quite have the classic Focus sound. And another one that doesn't have quite the classic Focus sound is this one, Focus Con Proby. When Jan Akkerman left, they replaced him with Philip Catherine, who was a great Belgian guitarist, and the best track on here is written by Philip Catherine at Sneezing Bull, which is a real Focus classic. And it's great. There's two or three sort of jazz fusion pieces written by Yves Albers, who also joined the band after that, around this time. I think Philip Catherine came back to record this. I think he probably left by then. Yeah, Sneezing Bull's great. However, the elephant in the room, of course, it's Focus Con Proby, which means it was focused with PJ Proby, who is an American singer. I think possibly not to everyone's taste. Possibly the worst song that Focus ever recorded is on here, Tokyo Rose. The choruses are instrumental and are great. The rap verse is almost unlistenable. Again, there's some good songs on here. Eddie is a good song. Whether you can take PJ Proby, apparently I wouldn't say he had a drink problem. I think the problem was that he didn't have a problem drinking. Next, which I think might be number 9, is Focus 8. This is the special edition with the autographs on the back. This is copy 19 out of 500, and it was sort of the comeback album. Bobby Jacobs got together with Jan de May, Tash Van Leer, and they started jamming together, and they basically reformed Focus after quite some considerable time when the band didn't really exist, and they put this album out, and it's good. It sounds like a Focus album, and maybe that's part of its problems, is that certainly the first track, Rock and Rio, sounds a bit like Hocus Pocus, got some yodeling on it. Tomorrow's Move sounds a bit like House of the King. But there's some good stuff. Neurotica is very good. Yeah, and it's got another outing for Brother, which was on Focus Comprobi. The singer There's No Singing. Some people may well prefer this version. So that would be number 9, Focus 8. Number 8. In and Out of Focus. It has many different covers. The one I had was this one, which is a rather hideous purple and pink affair. If you stand far enough back, you can see it says Focus on it. So this was their first album. Inside it's even more hideous in many ways. But yeah, it's got some vocal tracks, which probably not Focus's strength. It's got Focus 1. Some versions of In and Out of Focus have House of the King. This one does. I think the definitive version, the original version, didn't have House of the King. There's some signs of the band they would become, but they're not there yet, and that's why this is sitting at number 8. Now, if you know anything about Focus, you'll be thinking, why hasn't he mentioned this one? Mother Focus. Once upon a time, I would have had this at number 1. I thought this was the most marvellous album that had ever been produced by anybody. I was wrong. I think it was a lot of wishful thinking. That said, it's not as bad as many people say. It's fairly smooth, late night jazz type stuff. There's an exceptional track. No Hang Ups is exceptionally good. The problem I think here was that both Jan Akkerman and Tash Van Leeuwen were saving their best material for solo albums, and therefore they were relegated. The stuff that wasn't making it to their albums onto here. Bert Writer came through with some songs which are not quite what we expected from Focus. I do like the album. There is a book that says that they love it. Stephen Lamb wrote Focus in the 1970s. He says he really enjoys it, and I can see it. I do like it. It's certainly an easy listening. But yeah, number 7, Mother Focus. Number 6 is Focus 9, New Skin. Again, one of the newer albums. This is there's basically about 75-80 minutes of music on here. So there's a lot. You get a lot for your money. Another outing for Eddie, which was on Focus Comprobi. There's some good stuff on it. I Yuppie Yuppie He is still played on the live set at the moment. But there's some good stuff. Check it out. Number 5 is again another compilation type. Ship of Memories. This is the Great Lost album. Between Focus 3 and Hamburg Concerto, the band went into the studio and didn't quite get an album together. So this is, you get glimpses of what could have been. Peas March is terrific. Focus 5 is terrific. There's a couple of jams on here. And there's some tracks that didn't make other albums. I've always liked it. It's interesting, but we can see what might have been. But yeah, do like it. Number 5, Ship of Memories. Number 4 is recent. This is Focus X or Focus 10. Some of these tracks go back a while. We've got another outing for La Tango, which was on the 1985 album. We've got tracks, Talk of the Clown and Message Magique, which were on a Tash Van Leer solo album called Renaissance, under slightly different titles. And Victoria, I think, dates back to the 1970s when it was a single for Lisbeth List. Every time I hear this album, I think I like it more. It's got some it's got a lot of the things that folks are good at. Some good rockers. There's some melodic stuff. I love it. Yeah. They're still playing all hands on deck on their live set, and it's all great. It's all great. So that's number 4. Number 3 is the first album I ever bought. This is Focus 3, double album. It's got big hit Sylvia on, which was number 4 in the UK back in the day. House the King was on the original vinyl. It's not on here, I don't think. No, it isn't on here. Not on this CD. But they had Answers, Questions, Answers, Focus 3, Anonymous 2. One of the albums that cemented their reputation when they were probably at their peak. Back in the 1970s when they were touring, when there were power cuts and they had their own generator. So just before I got into them, great album. Focus 3. Number 2. Many people would have this number 1. It's Moving Waves. It's got Hocus Pocus on, which everybody knows. It's got that classic prog lineup of tracks with 5 short tracks on side 1, and then the great epic on side 2, Eruption. In the 50 Years box set, there's a version of Eruption which is 37 minutes. This one is 22 minutes and 35 seconds, and yeah, it's probably what folks are all about. This was when Cyril Havermans was still in the band, but yeah, great album. Which leaves only one for number 1, and it is Hamburg Concerto. I've always loved the title track. Again, it's the same sort of layout for 4 short tracks on side 1, long epic on side 2. Hamburg Concerto is my favourite Focus album. Hamburg Concerto that is my favourite Focus track. If you don't like Hamburg Concerto, then you will have Moving Waves as number 1. But this is my number 1. Did play this on the tour that I saw them on the first time. It's got a full of bombast. It starts off with that variations on a theme by Haydn, Santana Chorale, and then you get that great riff. It builds and builds, coming back at the end. Great song. So number 1, Hamburg Concerto. So going back through, number 1, Hamburg Concerto. Number 2, Focus, Moving Waves. Number 3, Focus 3. Number 4, Focus X. Number 5, Ship of Memories. Number 6, Focus 9. Number 7, Mother Focus. Number 8, In and Out of Focus. Number 9, Focus 8. Number 10 is Focus Comprobi. Number 11 is the 1985 Nyckelman and Tash Van Leer. Number 12 is confusingly 11. Number 13, completely focused from the this live album. Number 14, Beyond the Horizon, Focus 8.5, Focus and Friends. Number 15, the Focus Family album. And finally, Golden Oldies. Check him out.